right, we are ready to go. So all of this stuff has been scuffed, cleaned with waterborne wax and grease remover and solvent wax and grease remover. And then there were a few bare spots of plastic here, so I just hit that with some adhesion promoter. So we'll let that cook for a couple of minutes. And we're ready to go. Gun's all loaded up, made a huge mess trying to pour it out. But that's ready to go. We are all done in here. That did not go exactly according to plan. This clear coat went on drier than anything I've ever used before. So the first coat I put on was just like dust, basically just nothing. The second coat I put on, I tried to put on heavy. That wasn't enough. The third coat I put on, I just hammered it. I was going like this slow. And it finally went on pretty well. When all was said and done, there's a bunch of trash or something in here. I'm not quite sure. Could be solvent pop, could be trash. It's a garage, so it's a little hard to tell. Some of this stuff looks like trash. The texture came out really nice. You can see the orange peel is pretty sweet. Can't complain about that. The gun did something really weird too, which I've never seen before. Usually the cups, when you put them in there, it's sucking the stuff out of the cup. But when I first set it up on the clear, it didn't do it on the base coat, but it was actually pushing air out. So the cup was expanding. So I've got to go do some research and see if I can figure out what causes that, because that was very strange. I don't know, some blockage or something. I don't know what would cause that. But that may have been the root of my problem, is instead of sucking out of the cup, it was pushing air in, and so it wasn't feeding properly. I don't have any idea. So I'll go do some research on that and see if I can figure out what happened there and hopefully avoid it tomorrow. Everything else came out pretty nice though, except for the garbage in certain places. But and a fun thing, of course, when we went to paint today, one of the door handles was missing. Couldn't find it. So who knows where it went. I think I managed to get by without any runs or anything in it, which, like I said, was really scary because I was hammering that stuff. But for me anyway. So we're definitely going to have to cut and buff this. It could be that they're sitting right by the air intakes here and I didn't block that off, so maybe it's pulling in some garbage from there. Anyway, so this is good. I don't know if this stuff's dry yet. Yeah, it's pretty dry now. So I'm so used to that EC 530 that I was spraying before. That was just like, it would run, just look at it sideways and it would run. And it would take hours and hours and hours to dry. This is still leaving fingerprints behind, so it's not like dry, but pretty dry. All right, so that's that. So tomorrow we will come back and do this, and hopefully it goes better than that. The other thing too is it used a lot of paint, like way more paint than I expected. That was, what, over a quart, not 2 quarts. So this is a 1.5 gallon mixable. Yeah, it's about a quart, I guess. It's more than I expected. Let me put the light on here so you can see the sparkle in there. So the paint came out nice. That's definitely trash right there. Yeah, so if only the clear coat had gone on like the base coat, because the base coat was really nice, surprisingly. Anyway, that's going to do it for today, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow. And like I said, hopefully everything goes smoother than it did today. All right, well, here we go. Did not film any of this because it sucks and it's boring, but had to be done. So everything's all masked off. I came around and hit all the bare spots with epoxy. This whole front end was chewed up there pretty good, so I got that done. So she's all ready to go. The weather is not great. It's currently 70 degrees and 70% humidity, and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's getting worse. So I gotta bust this out and hope I don't run into any trouble. I think I figured out what I was doing wrong with the gun yesterday. I think the air cap wasn't tight enough. I'm hoping that was it. Other possibility is that gasket inside the baffle or whatever it is on the GTI Pro Light isn't great. I have one more. I can swap that if that's an issue. And worst comes to worst, I'll just use my FLG4, which will probably be fine as well. Not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to get the roof here. That's way up there. I don't have a good step ladder for that, so we'll see. All right, next thing we're going to try here is sanding these guys down, putting some fresh clear coat on them. And we got just these weird patterns and stuff in there. We treated these things once before with, I don't know, Sylvania or one of those kits, and then it lasted a little while and they just turned yellow again. So I'm going to try sanding them down. I started working on this one with some 400. I think it looks better. I know when I'm sanding it, you can see the yellow coming off. It certainly looks less yellow than it does there. So I'm going to go over everything with 400, then 600, then put a fresh coat of clear on there, or 2 coats. See how it goes. I still can't get that pattern out of it. It's kind of weird. I don't want to sit here sanding on it all day. Maybe I need something more aggressive than 400, but I'm not going to bother. So you can see here, hopefully, kind of how yellowish that looks right there. So if you stand back, it looks better. So I think it's good. So that's it in 400. I'll finish the other one up in 400, then we'll do 600. Yeah, so after blowing that off, there's still a lot of yellow in these areas here, so I'm going to try some 320 and see if I can get that out. All right, there we go. I was going to paint these outside, hopefully no issues, because I don't feel like masking up, covering everything up in there. Mix up some clear and give it a shot. All right, well, she is done. Any comments?
Re-license plate her and we're done.
It's not on there yet, right?
No, not yet.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
No, looking good. Looking good.
Yep.
It looks beautiful.
Came out pretty nice. I think we're all fairly happy with it. Some of these trim pieces aren't really cooperating anymore, so we have to replace those, but everything else is looking pretty snazzy. And as long as Mom is happy, that's all that matters.
That's all the kind. Hey, look at the lights.
Yeah.
You sanded them down and got clear coat. They're looking good. Should last forever, no?
Hopefully. Yeah, the headlights look real good.
Yep.
So Mom's already told me that I have to cut and buff it, so because of that little thing right there, which is right on her side of the car, so we'll be doing a cut and buff job on this at some point, but not right away. All right, so let's get this thing out of here then.
Yes. Thanks, sir, for a job well done. As usual.
Excellent.
Merry Christmas.
Mom's happy.
there, which isn't great. You still see the slightest hint where the clear coat came apart there. Hopefully that'll disappear when we put the clear on. Alright, this is Eric from the future. Car's out of here. My parents just picked it up, took it home. I was going to talk a little bit about what was going on with the paint when I was painting it. So the base coat went on beautifully. I think as you saw, I didn't show all the coats of that, but it just perfectly smooth, no issues. Got just the tiniest little bit of junk in it, but no issues there at all. The clear coat, I put on the first coat. I meant to put on a really light tack coat, and it was just like so dry. It's like, wow, I couldn't get it to do anything at all. I don't know why it was so dry at the time. Couldn't figure out what was going on. I did the second coat and I went really slow and it still just wasn't laying down right. And then in the video you'll see I went back and checked the gun and the fluid tip was cranked in only one turn out. I don't know how that happened. I never leave the thing one turn out. So I cranked it out to 2.5 or 3. I forget what I did. Which was better, but it's still, you'll see in the video, I was going so slow. And I still ended up with dry spray all over the place. The car's got just lots and lots of either dry spray or just bad texture. I don't know which. I don't know enough about these things. Never had an issue with dry spray before. But this clear coat's really interesting because the stuff I used on the Camaro here, that stuff would run at the drop of a hat. You just gotta go like that and it would run. It was just so hard to paint that stuff. And this was the complete opposite. You could almost just hold the gun in one spot and it wouldn't run. So I didn't get any runs in the paint, no matter how much I was slowing down and doing anything. I could see in a couple of places that it puckered up. There was too much paint there, it still didn't run. So this is really interesting compared to this paint. But there, you could see in the video when I'm spraying it, across the fan pattern, you can see in the middle like a hazy, super thick, like it's opaque in the middle, it's so thick. And I had to lay it on that thick to really get it to give me a good spray. The fan pattern looked okay when I sprayed it on the wall. I don't know. So I've never sprayed that clear before. This is one of those Euro clear, this guy here, this restoration shop stuff. It went on pretty well, you know, ultimately, if I could get it to lay down, the texture came out pretty nice and everything. The orange peel wasn't really very bad, and I've always struggled with orange peel. But it's just lots of dry spray. Or just bad texture, like I said. I think it's dry spray. But, you know, I put 3 coats on, called it a day, and then we're going to go back and we're going to have to do some cut and buff on it because it got a little bit of junk in it that we need to get out of there. And I'm going to see if I can smooth out some of that texture in there that didn't come out great. We'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to improve it a little bit. I can't get too crazy because there's not that much clear on there, but we'll see. All in all, though, it came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how the thing came out at the end of the day. So, you know, they I don't know if I mentioned it anyway, they quoted $7,000 at the auto body shop to do it. And my mom didn't understand why that was so expensive, but after having torn the whole car apart and put it back together, now she understands why it was so expensive. Anyway, she's happy. That's all that matters at the end of the day. So, on to the footage. Still pretty textury, but that's the first coat. Come back around for a second one, and a third maybe. All right, well, she is done. Any comments?
Relicense plate her and we're done.
It's not on there yet, right?
No, not yet.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
No, looking good, looking good.
Yep,
It looks beautiful.
came out pretty nice. I think we're all fairly happy with it. Some of these trim pieces aren't really cooperating anymore, so we may have to replace those, but everything else is looking pretty snazzy. And as long as Mom is happy, that's all that matters.
I'm happy.
That's all the kind.
Mom's
Hey, look at the lights.
Yeah.
You sanded them down, they got clear coat, they're looking good. Shouldn't last forever, no?
Hopefully. Yeah, the headlights look real good.
Yep.
So Mom's already told me that I have to cut and buff it, so because of that little thing right there, which is right on her side of the car. So we'll be doing a cut and buff job on this at some point, but not right away. All right, so let's get this thing out of here then.
Yes. Thanks, Seth, for a job well done. as usual.
Excellent.
Merry
Mom's
Christmas.
happy.